Hi everyone, Jill from Red Tent Australia here. I can't even begin to tell you how excited I am to be sitting here today with Fleassy Malay. So Fleassy came into my life, it's probably March last year, on Facebook one day, just scrolling through as you do, and I came across a poem called Witches. And immediately I started sharing it, and we posted it on the Red Tent Australia page, and I think it's at almost 3 million views. It got to 1 million views in about 2 days. And so we knew straight away that Fleassy was somebody that we wanted to invite to come and speak at our retreat. And then it wasn't too many months later that I saw she was going to be doing an online speaker training course called Rise. And so I signed up for that, and honestly, my life has changed. And so I'm very excited to be sitting here with you today, Fleassy. And so Fleassy's in Melbourne, I'm in Brisbane, but we are going to be bringing her up to Brisbane for our retreat at the end of May. And we wanted to talk a little bit about what she'll be doing there, but I was really interested to find out more about Fleassy, and even your name, Fleassy. How did that come about?
Well, hello. Hi, everybody. So Fleassy is a nickname that I got given when I was about 12. Well, I say given, I claimed it when I was about 12 or 13. So I had, a boyfriend / bully, when you're at that age at 12 and there's a guy that you hang out with or a person that you hang out with and they kind of like love you and hate you at the same time. So I had someone like that in my life, and he had been to my house and had heard nicknames that my dad had called me. And one of the nicknames my dad calls me is Leasy, because it's a play on my birth name. And so he had, in one of his phases of bullying me, was going, Fleassy, Leasy, Fleassy, Leasy. And I would just turn around to him. I said, well, Fleassy is my nickname, so you can't use that against me now. And then I just went and had to tell everybody at school that my name was Fleassy. So it was kind of a reclaiming of like a situation where I was being made to feel bad about myself, and just decided to own it and claim it and just run with it. And then as time went on, the name became a bit of a joke for a while. It expanded to Fleassy, Queen of Sheep, Ruler of Lambs, and Walker of Fields was my nickname in school. I was a bit of a dork. I'm not going to lie. I was quite a dork. So yeah, that was my nickname for a long time. And Malay is actually my middle name, my birth middle name. So as time went on, more and more people got to know me as Fleassy. And it's just got to a point now where it's just a bit absurd. The idea of changing my name is like, it would take a lot of work, I feel like. So I'm in. I'm committed. I'm committed to Fleassy Malay now.
It's beautiful. I love the way it rolls off your tongue, and it's unique, just like you. So would you, for those people that are maybe seeing you for the first time, what juices you up? What are you about? Tell us what makes you feel passionate.
There's something about people being prepared to go deep and get juicy and to connect and to communicate, and courage, this sort of stuff, this area of the edgy realm of us exploring and self-inquiry. And when we're prepared to really look at ourselves and look at each other and sit with each other and grow and become more fully ourselves in the world, that is like my core juicy place. Really, it's connection. Like connection is what drives me in everything that I do, in all of the art that I've ever created. It was actually just last year that I took a moment to look back through my work at university, at college, and now, and so much of it, pretty much all of it, is around connection. And to know that that's become my life purpose, is to basically help people connect with themselves and with the world around them. And to see that that's actually been my journey pretty much my whole life as well. It's been it's like self-affirming thing to see that. I think that it's a bit of an addiction as well, though, isn't it? Connection.
My sparkle fingers there.
Like, yeah, like I just looked up, literally, as I said, I looked up, and there's a painting on my wall by Stephanie Rose Freeman of two people who I know them both deep in the throes of lovemaking, with these like flowers bursting out the back of them. It's a print on my wall, and it's like it's juicy. It gets me juicy, whether that's sexuality, whether that is connection to God, connection to spirit, connection to earth. Like my connection to my homelands, my native homelands, is profoundly deep and shattering to not be there. And then connection to self, and how do I connect with myself, and how do I find connection and time and deep understanding of myself. So this is really, this is my juicy place.
We're speaking the same language. The connection to the land for me, and I'm a visitor in this place. I've only been, we found that out when we worked together that day that we arrived in Australia almost at the same time. Now I'm from New Zealand, and so that connection to the land, that to me again is, like you say, a bit of an addiction, and I am craving that here for this country, to know more. I feel like I'm a baby and I don't know much about Australia, and I really want to know more. So when I connect with women from here and from the land, and anybody from here, that really juices me up too. So when you work with women and you know, and working with me, I know the changes that I've seen in myself. When you work with anybody, I guess, not just women, what do you see, and what are the common blocks that you come across when you're working with people on the speaker training?
It all goes back to shame. So much of it goes back to shame. Shame stories that have been put on us by society, shame that we feel in ourselves. It's this fear of being seen. It's most people aren't afraid of public speaking. They're not afraid of speaking. They're not afraid of the public. What they're afraid of is being seen and the flow-on effects of what might happen if they are seen. And so you see people on stage all the time. I see people on stage all the time, and I see in millions of ways that they are hiding being seen. They're there, they're standing there, they're speaking, they're saying what they want to say, but they're not really letting themselves be seen. And the tangible difference between somebody in the world who's prepared to let themselves be seen and somebody who is not is, like, you can feel it. You can feel the difference in how deeply connected you feel with them, and also how deeply connected their words are going to get to you, how much it's going to affect you. So as a speaker, it's so important for me that I'm prepared to let myself be seen. I'm prepared to make a connection. I'm prepared to actually see myself, which is like sometimes the first step of it. And it comes in so many different formats, depending on who we are, what our identity is. If as a queer woman, there might be part of my identity that I would be afraid to be seen in places, or as a woman, there's part of my identity that's been shut down by society so much. But for a lot of men, there's a lot of stuff around sharing vulnerability and sharing emotions that comes up. There's then looking at layers of privilege and looking at layers of different types of people who have, for whatever reason, be socially or because of family units or because of relationship experiences, have had shame put on them about who they are and how they show up in the world. And so they've made themselves small. We make ourselves smaller. We make ourselves quieter. We make ourselves bigger and use it as a way of hiding ourselves. And I think that is the kind of the big thing that shows up for me, is quite often when we show up, we're not really showing ourselves. We're wearing something to hide who we are, but still be present in the world.
Yeah. And something that you've helped me with working through this is for my fear, it was the fear of criticism or the fear of ridicule. And what I realized is that I was ridiculing myself and criticizing myself way more than anybody else ever would or could. And it was that the invitation to be completely vulnerable in this space of the rise. It's an online 6 weeks, isn't it, Fleassy?
7 weeks. I think it ended up being 7 weeks. I got excited and added an extra week on the end.
Space that you create there for us to really, and it's all mirroring with all the other people that are going through the training. It's my experience is of course unique to me, but other people have shared this experience, and that has allowed me to become more vulnerable, not obviously just in the course, but in turn for being, the founder of Red Tent Australia. I had been hiding for almost 5 years. Waiting for somebody else to come along and go, okay, I'll be the leader. I'll be the face or the voice of this organization, because I was afraid of not being enough. And then when I actually showed that this is me and I'm actually really happy with myself, and yes, I don't know everything, but I'm a very passionate person and compassionate, and that's enough.
And this is a core part of it, this I don't know everything. Like, oh my God, so I look a lot at shame stories as well. That's one of the core things, is us understanding our own shame stories. And for me, one of my biggest shame stories is that there's the voice that my brain tells me to keep me small is one day people are going to realize that you're faking it. And who are you to feel like you're qualified enough to speak on this stuff or to do this stuff or to show up in this space?
Yeah.
You know, and it's such a controlling mindset that really keeps us small. So for me, the work really is about beginning to reframe that relationship with ourselves and reframe that self-talk, because until we're prepared to do that, we're not going to show up. We're not going to let ourselves be seen, because we're not even seeing ourselves. We're not even letting ourselves be seen by ourselves.
It's so fundamental, and when we talk about it and when we're there, we go, well, of course, but it's so powerful. And from where I was to where I am now, it's such a huge difference. And of course, there's so many layers, and every day we're working on this stuff, and a new thought or a new belief will come up, and I'm observing them a lot more now, and sort of sometimes still doing some behaviors that I need to work on, but now I'm feeling very compassionate for myself, to say, okay, well, that's the way you feel right now. Maybe we could look at it a little bit differently, and feeling the fear and doing it anyway. Doing this video, doing the stuff that I'm doing, around different places, just doing it anyway. And even though I might feel nervous, that's not actually going to stop me from doing it. Yeah. And so when you're coming to Boundless Self-Love Retreat at the end of May, can you share a little bit about what you'll be bringing in terms of not just what you'll be talking about, but your message for women?
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you what I'll be talking about because I don't know yet, because that's how I roll. I've got a workshop at Seven Sisters, don't tell anybody this, that I haven't written it yet. It's in 2 days time. Like I got flown to the States to do a talk last year, and I wrote it on the plane, on the internal flight on the way there, because I can't talk about things unless they're really relevant to me. My TEDx that went out last week, I wrote that I finished writing it. I started writing a week before and finished it 3 days before the actual event. And so for me, it's about what is present, what is real for me, what is actually going on in the moment. But the core of my work is always about courage. Like, how courageous can we be? How can we invite ourselves into courage to create connection, to create change? And this is not just personal change, this is social change. We're in a world where we other each other constantly. We are constantly creating separation, constantly. And like on a political level, that has caused so much pain and shame for so many people. Whether that's because of the color of your skin, or because of who you love and the body you have, or the country that you come from, or any of this stuff, your social status, all of these things. We live in a society which is based and benefits off of othering each other, but the people, us as individuals, do not benefit from that. And so for me, on a social level, on a political level, and on a personal and intimate level, courage and connection is absolutely priority. Because if we're not prepared to show up, to see the world, like we're not prepared to see ourselves in each other as well, it's a lonely existence. And that's affecting us mentally and emotionally so much. Every day. Yeah. You just got to see the rates of suicide, and the rates of mental health disorders, and the rates of addiction, and all this sort of stuff that is happening in a society which is so based around disconnection. And for me, that's got to change, and that can only change. I really believe it can only change through vulnerability, courage, and connection.
I agree 100%. So for those that are watching, our retreat that's coming up at the end of May is called Boundless Self-Love Retreat, and our theme this year is Invoking the Warrior Woman. And so this is why we've invited Fleassy to be our keynote speaker on the Saturday night. I just wanted to get a book. It's occurred to me, this is a book that Red Tent Australia is based on, Sacred Commerce, Business as a Path of Awakening. And one of the premises of Sacred Commerce is being a place for it all. So we don't, if there is anything that makes people feel like, unworthy or that they exclude themselves, we want to be a place for it all. And so we invite women from all walks of life and from all beliefs and anything, bring it to us. We want to be a place for it all. And so we want to create a circle of support and eliminate isolation, especially for women who have experienced or are experiencing domestic violence or domestic abuse. To me, right now in this country, and pretty much in the whole world, that we are in crisis. And one of the things that happens when you are going through domestic abuse or domestic violence is that you feel so lonely. You feel like you can't reach out, and you feel like you can't talk about it. And it really is a hurdle and a bridge that we need to cross to make sure that people don't feel alone going through this. So the theme, Invoking the Warrior Woman, is about us linking arms with each and every woman that's there. And we do that, obviously not everybody who's watching this can be at the retreat, but please know that we energetically are together. And yeah, so thank you so much, Fleassy.
You're more than welcome. Thank you for chatting to me. Yeah.
See you in May.
Yeah, see you in May. I'm really excited to see you there. And I'm really enjoying, just going to say that we're doing Rise at the moment as well. We're in the process of doing Rise again. And I'm really loving having you there and seeing you in that. And I'm already planning the next round. So
and I'm just going to keep doing it again and again and again. And so Rise Speaker Training, just before we end this, when is it starting again? Because we're on week 4 now, aren't we?
We're on week 4. So I'm going to leave about 4 weeks between them. So I think it's going to be around the 18th of April.
Okay.
We'll be starting again. I might have got my dates wrong. It might be March. Sorry, May. It's either April or May. My brain is just scattered. But it will be on the website. I'm going to do all that today.
We'll put it in this video with a link into your website.
Okay, cool. And the way that it works anyway is that people can sign up at any time and you have instant access to getting the week by week of the course. But we do live rounds, and I show up for live rounds multiple times a year, and whoever wants to be part of the live round can be, and you can keep joining the live rounds. You don't only get to do it once, because I don't like this idea that you sign up for a course, you have that course for this one time and then you're done. Like, it's about creating a community for me, a community of change makers. And so we have our group, as you know, you're in it, we're all there. And every time I decide, right, I'm going to do a live round, anyone who's signed up to the course can join that live round, and they can keep joining over and over again. And it's been really beautiful to do it that way.
Because the first time I did it, I ran away, and I didn't do the work I did the work, typed up my little things and did the work, but I didn't really do the work. And that it takes a while for things to sink in sometimes because of the fear.
I was going to say, do you think you didn't do the work, or do you think that you were planting seeds and the work? Because the change that I've seen in you from then to now is that you did the work. You did show up to yourself, and you may not have felt you were doing it, but it's about integration time, And so,
I think I'm pretty hard on myself. I'm a very obviously quite focused and driven person, and I expect a lot from myself. And I did the work, but not as deeply as I have done now.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
I was just coaching you, wasn't I? That was me just stepping in.
And we'll end the recording right now.